My video yesterday on the Tesla earnings call got a lot of good comment. One comment that struck me very strong was John Paul, who writes me on a regular basis, indicating that everything that Elon says is basically a lie and that his computers aren't going to be able to support what he's saying, and that, in fact, it will be NVIDIA's computers that will be the power of the future. And I don't have any issues with that, John Paul, but what I hear there is a visionary, and I like to think of myself as a visionary, and maybe everything that I say isn't going to come true and be factual, but I just think about the situation that I'm in and that I've lived in. I've got roughly, I would guess, $170,000 worth of assets sitting in my garage in the form of a BMW and a turbocharged Porsche that just costs me money. And they have never made me any money. And what Elon put in front of me yesterday was the fact that I could convert those into an asset that actually made me money. That I could. He even said that I could lease a Tesla that I could put into his system and it could make me money when I wasn't using it. Well, I only use my car roughly 3 hours a day. So the other 21 hours a day, it could be out making money for me. And yeah, I'd have to share it with Elon or someone or whomever. But that's a change in our world, and that's visionary, and I want to identify with it, and I want to explore it, and I want to be a part of it. So whether Elon is a liar, a fabricator, a dreamer, I really don't care, but I want to listen to him, and I want to be attuned to what he is doing. So with that in mind, my vision is that I can gather all the data that is available to Goldman Sachs now and learn to interpret it such that I can predict, based on past performance and future projections, what the price of any stock might be in the future. And I believe that's possible. And I also believe that emotion comes into it and momentum and money supply and all that. But the past is the best source we have for predicting the future. So putting Elon's lies aside, or truths or visions, whatever you want to call it, I'd like to share my vision. I'd like to share my belief of what I can do in the future. And I want to use Elon's stock as an example. And as I have showed you in the thumbnail, I think that I'm getting damn close to where I can predict the price of any stock with some level of accuracy if I gather enough data and interpret it in such a way that it gives me a projection. So with that, I want to take you to my computer and I want to show you the latest of what I've done and how I'm using it to come up with the projected target prices that I've put on Tesla for the end of 2024, end of 2025, and end of 2026. Now, what I know is those will change as the numbers that Tesla gives me in the future to make projections from. And as I get better at creating my algorithm to focus in even closer, let me show you what I've done thus far. Okay, this is a part of the spreadsheet that I use. I have this basically right now on 37 different stocks that I follow. And what I'm doing is gathering the data that is available on the internet in multiple sources and analyzing it to help me give a projection of what any stock's future price is going to be. And I base it on what I'm showing you here. This is Tesla's earnings per share going back to 2009. This is their stock price, again going back to, it looks like 2011. This is their revenue going back to 2014. And this is their research and development expenditure. And then this is their free cash flow. So what I'm trying to do is to see how all these numbers relate to each other to give me a means of projecting the future price of the stock. And what you figure out very, very quickly is that when you see a substantial drop in earnings per share, or a drop in the free cash flow, or a rise in the revenue, it's reflected then either immediately or shortly thereafter in the stock price. Okay, so here we see that the stock price on Tesla went up 743% in 2020. Well, why is that? Well, it could be that in 2019, they improved their free cash flow by 362%. Okay, and that year their revenues increased by 28%, followed by a 71% increase in revenues in 2021. And how does that explain the 743% increase in their stock price? Yes. But how exactly? And then how can I take that number and say, how does that relate to the fact that their earnings per share in 2024 dropped from $4.73 to $2.73? How does that relate to the fact that their price in their stock dropped 35%? Well, that kind of makes sense. A drop of 42 and a drop of 35. Okay, but how can I use that number to create an algorithm, and that's what that number is, to help me predict what the price of the stock is going to be on December the 31st, 2024. And that's what I've done. And that's what I'm continuing to do, is to add more numbers and get more relevance so that I can, in fact, predict what the price. And then what I do is go back and back test it and say, okay, does this algorithm, if I'd had that algorithm in 2015, would I have been able to predict a drop in the price of Tesla stock of 11%? Could I have done that? Could I have, with that algorithm, predicted that Tesla's stock in 2023 would go from $113 to $284? That's my objective, and that's the goal, and that's what I'm working at. And am I at the prefaces that I've got it right? No, it will continue to get better. But based on the information that I've put together so far, I believe the price of Tesla's stock on December 31st of this year will be $183.24. And today it's at $166. So that will give me something of an increase. I actually haven't put the percentage there. Based again on the 183 and the projection that in 2025 the earnings are going to go up 41%, I'm projecting the price of the stock will go to 277 and go up 67%. And then again, based on the projection that the earnings per share of 2026 will be $4.60, or a 20% increase. I'm predicting that Tesla's stock price on December the 31st, 2026 will be 300. And there you just saw the numbers change because the stock price of Tesla just changed. Going back, I'm projecting a 25% increase. Now, if on August the 8th, Elon comes and changes this number from 40% to 52% and changes this number from 20 to 40, these numbers will accordingly change. And you'll be able to come to my website and you'll be able to see the change. And you'll be able to see this on all the stocks I follow. Where we're headed is you'll be able to come down here and enter a ticker symbol, and all this will automatically fill for any stock that you're interested in, whether it's John Deere tractor or Procter & Gamble or one of Jim Favor's favorites, Ford. Don't understand that one, but that's what I'm striving to do. Why am I doing this? Well, one, to help me become a better investor. And two, to share my knowledge with you. Because it's not fair right now. As I've said repeatedly, Goldman Sachs has 46,300 employees to manage $2 trillion. That's what they're doing. This is what they're doing. So if I can bring it to you, all the more power to us, the tribe, the people. My objective is to get 10,000 of you to sign up for this, okay? That will make this Best of Us Investors roughly a $7.2 million company. That will put me in a position where I'm making as much as Jim Cramer. He makes about $5 million a year. I'm going to have some expenses, okay? But if I can give you that kind of information, then I'm worth $7.2 million. If Jim's worth 5, and he tells you to buy Ford and General Motors, okay. So this is where I want to take this. Again, I want to explain something that I believe very, very strongly in. I mentioned earlier that not all of you believe that that Elon is a truthful person. Elon is a visionary. He's there with Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and all the people who have changed our world in the past. Do they get everything right? No. And please don't expect them to. But listen to them and understand them. I got a question about, tell me more about this using of the compute in the car, much as a data center. Well, think of it this way. I have a $3,500 computer sitting down here at my feet. I use it 8 hours a day. That means that 16 hours a day, it does nothing. Should it be that way? Take that logic. I have $160,000 worth of cars sitting in my garage. I use them 3 hours a day at the most. Should they be an asset for me? If they have compute in them, that is the ability to be a part of a network that accesses them when needed to find you something on Google. Think of it as a backup server for Google's data farm. Think of it as a backup server for Amazon Web Services data farm or data centers. That if the compute is being taxed at Amazon Web Services, I have given permission for Amazon to access my computer to do some work, to access the computer in my car to do some work. And as a result of that, I get paid for it. Does that clarify that? It would be merely a matter of my compute being a part of a bigger network, and I get paid for it. Does this then change how the world gets paid? Okay? Rather than Kerry having $180,000 worth of depreciating assets in his garage, he has maybe $180,000 worth of income producing assets in his garage. Let's just say that those income producing assets can go out and give people rides at the rate of $50 an hour, 10 hours a day. Okay, that's $500 that my car is generating for me. Multiply that times 30 days a month, and you're talking about some real money. Now you're talking about the young lady who goes and works at McDonald's and flips hamburgers and drives in a Tesla, but while she's not needing the car, it's out making her more money for her. It's helping her feed her children, put a roof over our house. We change the perspective of work by putting working assets in the hands of people who need more income. Can you see how this could change the world? that they got to have a car anyway, got to have a computer anyway, but they don't use them but 10% or 20% of a day's time. And so you lease them or make them available to other sources who can generate income from them and then share it with you. That's what an Airbnb is. Okay? Retired people, children move out, they still have the asset, it's paid for, and they turn it into a money-making proposition. A gig economy. That's the future. That's what Elon explained to me yesterday. Now, he didn't talk about my computer. He talked about a car. Okay? What if, on the other hand, what if this was made available to me through Royal Caribbean, who I love to cruise with? What if I owned that cabin on that ship? I gave them $6 million and I owned it. And anytime I wanted to use it, I could go use it. But in the meantime, they leased it to you on a weekly basis, and they shared the income with me. Can you see how this could change the whole world? You don't have to work with your back anymore. You don't have to labor over a McDonald's grill anymore. By owning an asset and leasing that asset to someone who can market it for you and monetize it for you, you can have a source of income. And then you can pass it on to your heirs. It changes the whole world. Okay, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a visionary. And I think I can make you a better investor. Now, you can do this on your own, or you can hire Goldman Sachs for 2% and 20, or you can be one of the first 10,000 who step up and pay $60 a month to get me to $7.2 million, and then we're going to raise the price. That's exactly what's going to happen. So the window is open. If this makes sense to you, if you see my vision, get on the bus.